Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, let's dive right in, because today we're unpacking a mystery that is honestly as baffling as it is deeply unsettling. We're looking at a bizarre series of events centered right around one of the absolute most secure facilities on the planet. We're talking sudden disappearances, wiped technology, and just a whole lot of unanswered questions. So we're going to map out the facts, the timelines, and the data to see exactly what is going on here.
Think about this for a second. Why would a woman factory reset her phone, leave her ID sitting there, and just walk into the woods? It goes against literally every instinct we have about how people behave, right? Whether they're running an errand, running away, or maybe something worse. This single, jarring question is the thread we're going to pull on today. Section 1. The Melissa Casias Mystery. Let's look at the disappearance.
What's truly chilling here is how totally ordinary it all begins. Melissa Casias was a 53-year-old administrative assistant at Los Alamos National Laboratory, the birthplace of the atomic bomb, and she held a security clearance. Let's walk through her final known movements on June 26, 2025. At 6:15 a.m., she drops her husband Mark, who also worked there by the way, off at the lab. She tells him she's got an assignment over at another location on the campus. But then at 7:15 a.m., she unexpectedly shows up back at their home in Ranchos de Taos. She tells her daughter she just forgot her security badge. A bit later, she drops off a sandwich for her daughter, seeming kind of quiet but otherwise completely normal. Then at 2:18 p.m., an acquaintance spots her walking alone eastbound on State Road 518, and she never reported for work.
And this brings us to a glaring contradiction. Melissa claimed to her daughter that she came home specifically because she forgot her security badge. But the reality? Lab logs and their strict security protocols confirm that her badge was actually successfully used to enter the facility that morning. So the data literally does not match the story she told her own family.
And when investigators finally searched her home, the details got so much weirder. She didn't just step out for a quick walk. She left her purse, her ID, her keys, and her laptop inside the house. And most disturbingly, she left both her personal and her work-issued phones behind. Oh, and get this, one of those phones had been manually factory reset, wiping all recent data and communications. Now, state police initially suggested she might have been under some financial stress and maybe just left voluntarily. Her family flat out rejected this, pointing out she had very firm plans to care for her mother after an upcoming surgery. But just logically speaking, if a woman is running away to start a totally new life, why go through the highly specific, incredibly deliberate effort of factory resetting a phone, only to leave that wiped device sitting right there in the house? It just makes zero sense.
Tragically, the search for Melissa ended 11 months later. In May 2026, a hiker made a really grim discovery in the Carson National Forest, which is roughly 6 miles from her home. Her remains were found right alongside a handgun. However, anthropological examinations are actually still ongoing, so the official cause and manner of death are not yet determined. We still don't know for sure if she took her own life or if she was the victim of foul play.
Section 2. The Los Alamos Link. A second disappearance. So remember, Los Alamos National Laboratory is not your standard workplace. It's a high-security hub responsible for maintaining the U.S. nuclear weapons stockpile. Even as an administrative employee, Melissa's security clearance gave her access to highly sensitive personnel logistics. And the reason this matters so much is that Melissa wasn't the only one. Look at this date, May 4, 2025. That is just weeks before Melissa vanished. Anthony Chavez, a 79-year-old retired professional who spent decades working at the lab, disappeared from his home in Los Alamos. The eerie similarities here are honestly undeniable. Just like Melissa, Chavez left his entire life behind. His wallet, his keys, even his cigarettes were just left sitting on his table. His car was locked in the driveway, and there were absolutely no signs of a struggle whatsoever. He simply walked away on foot and has literally never been seen again.
Which brings us to Section 3, a disturbing national pattern. The defense corridor.
When you zoom out, the sheer volume of these cases is staggering. 13. We are talking about between 10 and 13 scientists, military personnel, and contractors tied to sensitive U.S. research who have either died or completely disappeared since 2022. This New Mexico anomaly? It appears to be part of a much wider, very real statistical cluster. Just look at the caliber of the talent we're talking about here. Stephen Garcia, a nuclear weapons contractor, vanished with a handgun. Monica Riza, a brilliant NASA JPL engineer who actually co-invented specialized rocket alloys, disappeared while hiking. William N. McCasland, a retired Air Force Major General, just vanished. And then we have these violently sudden deaths.
MIT professor Nuno Loureiro, gunned down at his own home, and Caltech astrophysicist Carl Grillmeyer shot right on his porch. While some of these individual cases might have localized explanations, having this massive concentration of lost scientific talent in such a short window is practically undeniable. So here's the crucial takeaway. This is no longer just some local police matter. The federal response has escalated significantly. The FBI is now leading what they're calling a holistic review to search for any national security commonalities among these cases. The House Oversight Committee, led by Chairman James Comer, has launched an official inquiry into these disappearances. Even President Trump weighed in, stating he's been briefed by advisors on these missing personnel. The absolute highest levels of our government are actively looking at this data.
Section 4. The Narrative War. Searching for answers.
Right now, there are two fiercely opposing theories totally dominating the public discourse. On one side, you have the theory of a coordinated attack. That's the idea that foreign adversaries are actively trying to decapitate the U.S. scientific community. On the exact opposite side, you have official skepticism pointing to isolated tragedies. They argue these are totally unrelated cases of natural causes, suicides, and localized crimes that just happen to share a weird demographic overlap.
To really understand why officials might lean toward the isolated tragedies angle, we have to look at human psychology, specifically apophenia. It's basically our brain's tendency to perceive highly meaningful connections between completely unrelated things or random data. When our brains see all these scientists going missing, we automatically want to draw a straight line between them, even if those lines don't actually exist in reality.
And look, we absolutely have to ground ourselves in the emotional reality of the families left behind. Just look at this quote from the families involved. "Please don't turn our loved ones' deaths into a Bigfoot conspiracy theory. They are experiencing unimaginable grief right now, and they're practically begging the public for respect rather than wild internet speculation while these investigations proceed." But here is where the whole thing gets incredibly complicated. Yes, apophenia is a real thing, but even experts admit having federal government agents with guns actively investigating these links makes this entire situation uniquely disturbing. It elevates it from a mere internet rumor to a highly legitimate national security inquiry. Because let's face it, the FBI wouldn't be conducting a holistic review if there wasn't at least the potential for a larger threat. Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought. We know Melissa Casias' remains were found, but we still don't know how she died. Anthony Chavez is still missing. The federal investigations are actively ongoing as we speak. So are we simply looking at the tragic but entirely random loss of brilliant minds? Or are we looking at something far, far bigger? The data is all right there. Keep questioning, keep learning, and thank you for joining me on this explainer.